Rob Basso has recently written a book. He is the author of The Everyday Entrepreneur, and he's been a founder of a number of companies, and he runs entrepreneurial growth companies right now. Rob, thanks for being on the George Jarkesy Show.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
So what got you to write a book? I mean, you're a busy entrepreneur. You're starting companies. You're out building America. You're probably, like I always say, and I took this from a guy here in Houston. He said, late to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise. And so any entrepreneur takes those, if he's going to be successful, or he or she is going to be successful, they take those under, but you fit in time to make a book and help others learn what you've learned.
Yeah, somehow it manages to all work out. I'm a busy person like any successful entrepreneur, but, I've noticed recently, especially in the last 18 months, more people are willing to go out on their own and create their own destiny. And I wanted to share some of the stories that I had when I was groundbreaking during my career to really impart some of the things I've learned and some of the massive failures so people wouldn't make the same mistakes that I made. And it was kind of cathartic for me to go out there, and I think it's being so well received because the timing is perfect in America right now. People do need to be inspired. They do need to feel like America can be on the right track again, and there's no other better place to do it besides this country, and I firmly believe that.
Well, right now, do you think, the entrepreneur spirit is still alive here in America?
It is alive and kicking and screaming to be let out. The reality is, you look at some statistics, all the way back from like March 2010 to March 2011, even though things in the economy weren't going that well, 500,000 new businesses started up in the U.S. How can entrepreneurism be dead and the American dream be dead when there's statistics like that still exist? Now, it could be significantly better, but there's no place on the planet that you can do things like you can do here in America. I live in the Northeast. I live in Long Island, New York, just a stone's throw from Manhattan, and just the two counties that I live in have nearly 3 million people. I was just down in Birmingham, Alabama, doing a book talk. There's only 1 million people. There is a huge amount of opportunity any of these urban areas around the country, and people just need to get out and do it and not be afraid to take that risk to go out on their own.
Sure. Look, I agree with you. I agree that the entrepreneurial spirit's there. I also agree, though, that our government, when I started in business 18 years ago, it seemed easier then. When I talked to my grandfather, who started in business in 1945, it seemed like he had no hurdle to get over. He had to work hard and what have you. But it wasn't the kind of overbearing government regulation and the way the banks are. You knew your banker. And even in my career, when I started, you knew your banker. They knew your name. They understood your business. Now you walk into the bank and they don't even know your name.
Hey, I can attest to that. I understand the challenges in the marketplace. I actually founded a community bank right at the beginning of this recession. Fortunately, we're doing real well. But
because you didn't have the bad loans on your books.
No, unfortunately, we still don't have any bad loans. But Dodd-Frank is a major issue where, our lending limits are significantly controlled because of the capital reserves that you have to have within the institution that are significantly different than they were a handful of years ago. But here's the thing. I understand the reaction, the retraction in some of the laws and some of the things that the federal government is doing because it seemed like it was a free-for-all previously. There has to be a happy medium someplace, and entrepreneurs, the good ones, still find a way to jump those barriers. I'm running an event on March 15th called Venture Pitch out on Long Island, myself and Damon John. Now, Damon John is the star of the hit show Shark Tank. And we're basically recreating his television show, but live for an audience. And we've already got submissions up the wazoo for people wanting to connect with venture capital. So there are opportunities out there if you're looking in the right places and if you have the good idea and you have the wherewithal to see it through. Too many entrepreneurs give up when they got the first sign of rejection. You know how many times I've been kicked in the teeth and got back up again? That's what we got to get back to. We got to get back to our roots.
So tell me, why the name Everyday Entrepreneur for your book? What's behind that?
For me, it was real simple. I'm an everyday guy. I didn't really have any major special advantages growing up. I'm a product of a divorced family. I had to work myself all the way through college. I'm just a regular guy. I don't think I'm of, significantly higher intelligence than the next guy. I just have a work ethic and ambition and conviction to really be successful and try to help bring other people along for the ride. And I couldn't think of a better way to call myself or the book the Everyday Entrepreneur, and it seems to be, catching on in the marketplace.
I never had the issue of a fear of jumping out there. I don't know why. It never was one of the things I struggled with. I never have. But I do know that a lot of people that have careers and are well entrenched in their careers think about starting a new business, and unless something dramatic happens, they lose their job or something, they won't make that jump. What do you tell a person that's in a career, maybe not doing great, but stable, when they want to jump out and be an entrepreneur, take the road less traveled?
Well, this is a real challenging thing, and this question has been posed to me, and I don't always give the same answer. I guess the mood I'm feeling in today is that it really depends on your personal situation and your penchant for risk or your stomach for risk. I would never tell somebody that has debt and bills and really things that are out of their control to just leave their great paying job and to immediately take that leap tomorrow. What I've been recommending lately is for people to really get a feel for the new thing that they want to do, to try to somehow get some momentum moving in the marketplace in the time that they have. But at the end of the day, if they don't make that leap and eventually quit their full-time job and spend 100% of their effort on their new career, it will never be successful. I know too many people who have 5 business cards. I'm a consultant for this. I'm trying this business. I'm doing this. They're literally doing 3 or 4 jobs at once. The problem is they're not an expert at anything, and they don't get a reputation of being an expert at that one thing. I believe to make a product or a service or anything you want to sell successful, you need to be the go-to person in your marketplace, and you need to be an expert. And it's kind of hard to do that when you got a full-time job doing something else.
Now, what took you into banking? You were an entrepreneur. You're building companies. What made you want to get involved in starting up a bank?
Well, it came down to the people involved. Now, my main business is a payroll and human resources company. I own a company called Advantage Payroll, and we're the largest privately held vendor here in the Northeast area. And the CEO of a bank which got sold a handful of years ago, he actually started that bank in the early 90s when there was a recession. And when he became free of his non-compete, he went out to the marketplace and said, hey, I can do this again. Now, little did I know how difficult it was going to be building a bank in the beginning of a recession, but me personally, I knew that there was a problem with banking. Starting in my young career, I did not have access to the traditional capital through a bank. I had to go to an investor to get the money to raise my first business loan. And I wanted to be able to help small and medium-sized business owners in the community. And fortunately, it's worked out that way. I've been able to help.
So it was a natural extension of what you were already doing, mixed in with relationships you already had.
It was, and it really was better than I could have imagined. Now, fortunately, we are doing well. But as far as a financial reason to be involved, it's a 10 to 12 year play.
Yeah, there's slow payers. Yeah, it's a hard way to make money. Rob, tell our listeners how they can learn more about you. Where's your website?
Well, the best place to check me out is a website called bassoonbusiness.com. It's BASSOON and then business.com.